Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. We will, as usual, be getting started here momentarily. If you want to skip past the morning pleasantries as we say hello to everybody in the chat room, scroll down below. You'll find a time code you can jump to jump straight past that. In the meantime, we're going to give people a moment to come on in and join us live for those who are, so that we can have a little chit chat. And I see there's already a couple people in the chat room. The guys coming in nice and early this morning. Good morning, Philip, Jim. God apparently has joined us, along with Royal Grom and Denmark and Sully. Everybody's flowing in. Philip, you're asking what equipment I'm using for broadcasting. I know it's like a broken record, but I will. I promise I will get to that in brief. Blackmagic ATEM2ME and a lot of crap plugged into it. So I will do it one of these days. It's just going to be a really big show to put together. Let's see here. Jim Lodge says he's looking forward to this one, calling in from sunny Bournemouth. Well, it's sunny in Bournemouth. It's raining here, so there, be that way. Hello again, Denmark. Hello, Sully. Hello, McLover. Hello, Jorge. Your phone just rang. Oh, I guess it rang to tell you that I'm here. Well, good. Look at that. And who's on the other end? Movie Man finally caught a live stream. Excellent. Welcome. Michael Tabinka. Good morning from Sweden. Good evening from Sweden. Hey, guess what, Michael Tabinka? I'm coming to your neck of the woods in the fall. Family vacation. But just booked last night some insanely awesome airfare. If anybody lives on the West Coast and is looking for cheap airfare to Sweden, I follow this Twitter account called Secret Flying. I think that's it. Secret Flying or Secret Flyer, whatever. You get these alerts all day long of really, really great airfare. I've been looking for something to do for the summer. San Francisco to Stockholm, one plane change, $400 in the summer. Like I just heard out there, what? Yeah, crazy. So that's where we're going this summer holiday. So how cool is that? Let's see here. What else we got going on here? Alexander just ordered your GH5 like right now. Well, excellent. I'm glad you're ordering one. Let's see here. I'm quieter than usual. Am I? I shouldn't be. Nope. All my levels are looking good and normal over here. So at least I think they are. Let me tilt that. Actually, it is looking a little bit low. I'm curious. Okay, let's bring that up a little bit and see if that makes a difference. Looks like the levels are a little bit louder there. Huh, that is odd. I don't know why that would happen. Test. Okay, that's peaking. Oh, that's peaking. That's too high. All right, we'll just leave it there. Let me know how it goes. Okay, let's see here. Scott's saying, yeah, you're the one who tweeted this, right? You're so annoyed you have to wait 2 months. Amazon lied to you. So apparently we have one user, Mr. Scott here on Twitter, who said that he was supposed to get it, I guess, today or tomorrow, and then suddenly Amazon's saying a 2-month delivery delay. Hopefully that's just a glitch and they're not really that far out. That would be unfortunate. Hello to Yorkshire back. Hello, Michael. Good morning, John David. Let's see, all kinds of Movie Man's back in. Julie Trucking. Well, or Lily Trucking, as it depends on what part of the world you're from. Good afternoon from Pennsylvania. Hello. Big difference, thanks. Okay, good, Royal Grom, thanks. I don't know how that got dropped down. That's really weird. And David saying, Joseph, are the GH5s definitely released this week? Do you know? I know nothing. I'm like Jon Snow. I know nothing. No one tells me anything. B&H photo order is here. Wait, Burnstech, are you telling me that something just arrived from B&H? Please confirm what you are talking about. San Francisco into house. That's excellent. All right, so yeah, all kinds of people flying through here. This is awesome. Alarms going off outside. It's a good day. Daniel saying 4K scaled down to HD on a timeline or HD straight from GH5. Any quality difference besides framing options? Well, that's a really good question. Okay, so he's asking if your end result is HD, are you better shooting 4K in the camera scaling down to HD on the timeline, or shooting HD in the camera, in which case the camera is scaling from 4K down to HD? That is a really good question. I don't know. You'd have to do a quality side-by-side comparison. I would opt to shoot 4K just because I like the reframing option. Also better for stabilization if you have to stabilize a shot. But straight up, side by side, I do not know what the answer to that is. That's a really good question, though. We may have to dig into that at some point. Do me a favor, pop that as a comment elsewhere or here, later, anywhere, because this stream goes away and I won't see it again. But do post that somewhere, because that is a really good question. I think that's worth checking out. Okay. Let's see here. Anything else? Can the 4K crop be used for S16, for Super 16 lenses? I do not know. I have no experience with those lenses. Probably, but I don't know. And Andrew, one more question, then we're going to jump into the show. Question for when you have the time. Can I turn off IBIS, in-body image stabilization, if the OIS and the 100 to 300 works better at zoom, and if not dual IS, is it better to stick with OIS? Good Lord, it's a lot of acronyms. Let me read that one more time. Can I turn off in-body stabilization if the optical stabilization in the 100 to 300 works better at the zoom end? Okay, so can you turn it off in the body and only use it in the lens? I don't think so. You can turn it off on the lens if there's a switch on the lens. That you can definitely do. Because like this lens right here, the macro lens, has got it. It's actually on. I'm going to turn that off because I'm stabilized. So the lens has it on a switch. If you turn that off, only the body will be used. I don't believe you can turn off the body stabilization only and use the lens. You know, that'll be the first thing we look at. We'll try it. Why not? Okay, let's try it. So, actually, we're not going to do that now because I don't have the cable plugged into the camera as usual because the on-screen display output, well, the HDMI out, gets turned off when you're into the 6K photo mode. I don't know why. I think it has to do with the resolution scaling thing. I really don't know. But you can't. So I can't do my whole post-focus macro thing that we're set up for today on the HDMI out, which is why there is no HDMI. And instead, we have my camera that normally be there is sitting over here, looking over my shoulder to here. Let's see if I turn this back on, wake that guy up. This is how we're going to be looking at the screen today. So I will do my best to not reach across the screen to tap that on and off. Okay, so let's get this thing started. Good morning and welcome everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, first live daily photo show on the YouTubes every weekday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. If you're not watching live, you should be. Come in live, it's a lot of fun. Then you get to participate in the chat, you ask questions, I try to answer them, I make up lies, it's all fantastic. Let's get this thing started. So yesterday when I first posted the show, I said we're just gonna do something with the GH5, I don't know what yet. And a couple of people said, hey, I wanna see in-camera focus stacking. Cool, so that's what we're gonna do. So first of all, let's explain what is focus stacking. The other day we were talking about macro photography and one of the limitations, one of the limitations wrong. One of the byproducts of macro photography is really shallow depth of field, like crazy shallow. It could be millimeters. It could be half a millimeter, especially when you get into those extension tubes, it gets crazy. So one of the, a common thing to do with macro photography is something called focus stacking. Now focus stacking allows you to take a series of photos taken across the width of an object. Let's just say here, I'll grab my remote. Let's say that I'm taking imagine this is small. We're taking a macro photography photo of this, and I can focus on this button right here. But I want to get the whole remote in focus. So you'd think, okay, well, why not just stop down your lens, go down to like f22 or whatever, and get the whole thing in focus? Well, that might work. But remember that when you're shooting at a small aperture, it's not like the focus has a hard line, right? It's not like you are. If you're super shallow depth of field, you might be focused from here to here. But when you got big depth of field, it's not like you're focused exactly sharp, defocus, sharp, defocus. It's a fall off, right? And by the time you get down to f22, again, as an example, yes, perhaps this whole phone will be in focus, but so is something out to here and so is something out to here. So if you're shooting things like jewelry, great example of this, that may not be ideal. You don't want to have all this other stuff in focus. You just want the ring, the pendant, whatever it is, in focus. If, however, you shoot just a single macro shot, you end up with just the tip of the jewel in focus or that one diamond in focus, not the whole ring. So what you do is you take a series of photos with narrow focus all along, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many it takes, a row of pictures, and then you take them into Photoshop and you combine them together, or there's dedicated software for this too. You combine them together and you end up with something called a focus stack. So you have a stacked image that is all the pieces in focus that you want, and then your fall off to out of focus is virtually instant because you have perfectly focused up to here, and then suddenly this is out of focus. Perfect focus, out of focus. It can be very effective and really cool to do. So if you're doing this the traditional way, you've got a macro lens, and there's two different ways to do it. Either you refocus the lens in tiny increments to focus farther along the subject, and you can do this manually, although a little tedious to do manually, not very accurate. Or depending on the camera you use, if you're shooting Canon or Nikon, I know there's solutions where you can plug your computer into the camera and dedicated software on the computer will control focus in the lens. The other way to do it is using a micro, what's it called again? That thing I had up here yesterday, the macro thermometer, not thermometer, it's a macro thermometer. No, the micrometer, that's the one. That allows us to move the camera in very small increments forward and back. And so you don't change focus on the lens, you just move the camera forward and back. Either one works. I think there are advantages and disadvantages to each one, although I haven't done enough of this to really know. When I've looked into it, the software seems to be a really popular way because it's largely automated. If you're doing it manually, obviously you're cranking it manually. The automated solutions will also then ingest the pictures, do a lot of the stacking for you. It can be pretty sweet. So that's what focus stacking is. On the latest models LUMIX cameras, including the GH5, and this started, I think, in the GX85? I don't remember what model this started in, but it's been around for a little while. It's in a few different cameras. We have in-camera focus stacking, where the camera will do all of that for you, and it does it by refocusing the lens. Now, this GH5 is the first one to do it in 6K photo mode, so we get a larger 18 megapixel picture, whereas the previous cameras to this, prior to this, did it in 4K photo mode, which is an 8 megapixel picture. So we're now in 18 megapixel focus stacked world. Previously, with the 8 megapixel, it was more like, you can do prints with 8 megapixel. I mean, shoot, you can print an 8.5 by 11 off of an 8 megapixel file, but you're not going to go big with it. 18 megapixel, now we're into proper resolution, we can do bigger. So this is done through the 6K and the 4K photo modes, which if you're not familiar with that, I'm going to explain that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to take a look at all these comments flying by at the speed of comments and see what fabulous things I might be missing. Oh my goodness. You know what? People are talking about their delivery schedules on the GH5. I think I will come back to this. Jorge is asking though, hey, but moving the camera, doesn't that change the background? Then you'll have a problem when compiling all of them. So yes, but so does changing the focus, right? Changing the focus will change the background as well, but you're not using the background, right? That you're not using it. The background is irrelevant because you're essentially going to use one frame of the background that will be something that's massively out of focus. So it doesn't matter that the background is moving a little bit. The perspective change or the focus change is minimal enough that it doesn't really matter what you choose as far as which frame would be the foreground of the background. It's not going to matter. And frankly, when you're doing it in software, in Photoshop and in here, you don't really choose it. I honestly, I don't know what frame it chooses, but it doesn't matter is what the end result of that is. Okay, so let's talk about what 6K and 4K photo are in case you've missed this. Now we'll link to it here. I did a video a while ago for Panasonic on this exact topic, on 4K photo. There was no 6K at the time, but it's the same thing, just bigger. And on focus stacking, actually. They're two separate videos, so we'll link to both of them. So there's the second one now. We'll link to both of these videos. And you can watch kind of my official Panasonic version of this. This was using, it wasn't in-camera focus stacking, my bad. It was not in-camera focus stacking. The video that I already pointed to is not in camera, it is focus stacking in the computer. So this will be the first time I've shown in-camera focus stacking. Cool, look at that, learning something every day. Okay, so let's back up. What is 6K, 4K photo mode? Just in case you're not familiar with this, let me go cover this briefly. The idea behind 6K and 4K photo mode is you are shooting what's essentially a video file. Technically it is a video file, but there's no sound to it, at 30 or 60 frames per second with the intention of being able to extract a still frame from that. It differs from video in three primary ways. Number one, there's no audio. Number two, it is shooting at 4:3 aspect ratio, so the same aspect ratio as shooting stills, not 16:9 for video. And three, it defaults to a higher shutter speed because the intention is that you're going to extract a frame. If you're shooting straight up video, if you're shooting at 180-degree shutter or a 50th of a second, or whatever it is, whatever the math is for your shooting combination, that's pretty slow shutter speed, and you're going to have motion blur in the frames, which is great for video, not so good for stills. So when you're shooting 4K or 6K photo mode, the camera says, aha, 6K photo mode, high shutter speed required, defaults to a higher shutter speed. Okay, so that's 6K and 4K photo mode. Somewhere along the way, someone at Panasonic went, hold on a second. If we're doing all these frames, we can control the focus. Well, what we can do is tell the camera to focus rack and focus here, and then focus a little bit forward, take another frame, focus a little bit forward, take another frame, and so on. And then you get this really cool thing called post focus. And with post focus, you take a picture and you can choose your focus point later because you're effectively taking a video of a focus range. And we'll take a look at that. And this allows you to shoot a picture and choose focus later. Now, this is not a one instant photo. It is shooting video, so it might take half a second, it might take 5 seconds to cover that range. It depends on the lens and the distance of subject and everything else. So this is not the kind of thing where you go, click, and I'm gonna choose a focus later. It's a bit more careful than that. You compose, you push the button, hold the camera as steady as you can. You don't have to be on a tripod. It helps. You don't have to be. Hold the camera as steady as you can. It'll focus through, and there you go. There's your focus stacking, your post-focus rack. And then somebody at Panasonic said, well, hold on a second. Now that we've got all these different frames of data, we can merge all that together into a macro focus stack. Cool, right? And that is what we're going to show today. So it's several steps of evolution that led up to this, but now that we're there, we can do in-camera focus stacking, and it's crazy kind of cool. So that's what we're going to do. So now, we're going to look at these crazy comments flying by, of which there are many. Oh my goodness, we have 110 people watching right now. That is fabulous. That's a new record. Excellent. Thanks, guys. Hey, while you're here, shout out, subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribing is good. We're really close to 4,000. I think that's kind of cool. All right, let's see here. She's still talking about GH5 delivery dates. David says, sorry, Joseph started something here on delivery, but I think we all just want to get our hands on it as soon as possible. I know, but you guys are going to get hands on it. You're going to stop watching my channel. No, you're not. You're going to come here to learn stuff. I know it. It's going to be awesome. My ETA for GH5 on Amazon is end of month for stock. That's from Zachary. Okay, so end of month, that's not too bad. It's only a couple weeks away, or a week away. It's pretty soon, isn't it? All right, let's see. Yeah, this is all conversation about GH5. So listen, guys, there are so many comments flying by right now. I am going to put on a full-out plug, which Martin just did. Martin, bless you, to mention Super Chat. This is going to be a great way, if you have an actual question you want answered, to get that up there. There's this thing called Super Chat, which does two things. It puts a little bit of money in my pocket, which man's got to eat. And also, it allows your comment to get highlighted and stick up on screen, as Martin Pitts has just done, where he has thrown some money at me to say, don't forget to mention Super Chat. Martin, you're awesome. Thank you so much. So there's a little $ button under your chat. Hit that. It'll allow you to contribute any amount that you want. Post your question up, and then that question will get highlighted and stick on the screen. So thank you. And if you got a question you want answered, use that, because there are way too many comments flying by right now for me to read all of these. Okay, so let's take a look at... focus stacking. So I think it's time to switch over to this camera. I'm going to do it this way so you don't get the blockage. There we go. So again, we're looking at this the old-fashioned way off the back of the camera. Let's make sure that's nice and sharp. So I've got my little mushrooms back in here again. I'm still alive, so I guess they're not that poisonous. And I'm in the 4K photo focus stacking mode, which, I don't think I can do this. If I tilt this is probably a really bad idea. Okay, I'm going to do this. Let's see if I'm going to point this at it. Sorry, this is bad camera work here, but let's see. Can I focus on that? Naturally, I can't focus that close. There we go. Aha! Excellent. Wrong way. There it is. Okay, so you can see the mode that we're in right now. So you've got your 6K photo, which is your standard 6K photo mode we talked about before. And then this mode here, that is your focus stacking / post-focus mode. So it's got a dedicated position on the GH5 top dial. So that's the mode that we're shooting in right now. So a little bit different than your standard focus stacking mode. Okay, standard 6K photo mode. Whoa, Burns, lunch on me. Damn, Burns, well, thank you. That is, wow, you're my new best friend. You rock. Thank you so much. You didn't even have a question for me. Wow. Okay, this super chat thing might actually work. If everybody was as cool as Burns. Burns, what's your shout out? Give me a shout out, man. I gotta give you some kind of a shout out for that. That is just wicked cool. I really, really appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Let's get this thing set up here again. Yeah, nice donation, right? That you guys are the best. All right. Sully says, damn it, I was going to drop 10. He outdid you. It's like a bidding war. No, we're not going to do that. Burns, again, thank you. That is a beautiful thing. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's switch back to this mode now and go back to my remote camera, find focus on there. There it is. That'll work. All right, get my little mushrooms back in place. So now the first thing that happens, you cannot just push the button and have it take a picture. You have to push the button halfway, and it's going to do a focus rack through. It's going to verify that it can do this, and then you get the green autofocus light that says we're good. And now I push the button, and it says recording and post focus, and it does that. So you can see it takes a little bit of time. Okay, actually, I'm going to do, hold on, I want to do another one here. I'm going to make a little change on here because I want to have something in the background more in focus. Well, it might already be. Let's just check it out. So there it is. There's the post focus, and now we're just looking at the picture. If I tap on this little guy up here in the corner, tap on that. Oh, and that's the merging. Sorry, I don't want to do that yet. Back out of here. There we go. I'm in post-focus mode now, so I can just tap on the screen to focus on whatever I want to focus on. So there's the back mushroom, there's the front mushroom, there's the rock down there. And if I go to the back, there we go, I can actually focus on my coffee mug sitting in the background there. So that's the full focus range that was captured by this post-focus image. Now, if I just do a focus stack of everything, do an automatic one, it's going to put everything into the picture, but obviously I don't want that coffee mug. I don't want my acoustic paneling in the background. I just want the little mushroom dealie. So this is where the post-focus part, focus stacking gets really, really cool. So let's go back to this. Let's see here, go back to this view again. And so again, I can poke it, touch to focus. Oh, and you see the peaking. I don't know how well you can see that on there, but you see the little blue sparklies, that's focus peaking, that's enabled. I can turn that off right there so I don't get focus peaking. But focus peaking is nice because it really helps you determine that you are truly in focus. And we can actually, if we zoom into this, we can see even more. You can really get a close-up view. And now I can go dragging this slider here to really, really choose a super precise focus point. So that would be more used if you were going to extract a frame. Right? If your objective here was to extract a still frame, okay, this is, wow. The last name Extol, I can't see the first part of it. My screen, hold on, maybe if I, Zachary, that's Zachary. Thank you, my God. Huge donation, thank you. Once you get your GH5, hopefully you'll cover tripods, lenses, etc. I will cover anything you want. Are you kidding me? This is, wow, fantastic. So now I gotta see how this works. If I click on, okay, if I click on the button, I got a little button. Let me show you what it looks like for me. This is kind of cool. Go to, which screen is it? Where's, oh, I don't have that screen. I don't have a shortcut for that. Let me, hold on a second. Let me pull up this screen because I want you to see what I see on my end because it's kind of cool. There we go. So this is what I'm seeing. You like my notes on the right there? So this is what I see. This will hover up here. The more you pay, the longer that stays up there apparently, and I can see the comments on there. So really, guys, that's just insane. You guys are the best. Wow. Like I'm just flabbergasted here. This is so cool. Thank you, Zachary. That is just, oh my God. Okay, let's get back to it before everybody else is like, I'm out of here. No one, he's not talking about anything. Okay, back to this. So I was starting to explain the reason you'd zoom in close like that and slide through is, I'm just blown away by this huge number on the screen here. You slide through is if your goal was to extract a single frame and you wanted that super precise exact point of focus, because that's what it was originally designed for, right? So you're looking for that precise point. You go through frame by frame very, very accurately. You get the focus peaking marks to see that the eyelashes, the tip of the eyelashes in focus, whatever it is that you want. So that's super nice. But that's not what we want to do here. What we want to do here is do the focus stacking. Sully, now you're up there next. Sully, thank you. God, you guys are too much. This is clearly the most profitable show I've ever done in the history of YouTube. Thank you, Sully. $10 in from Sully. You guys are the best. I cannot get over this. Okay, let's hit this. So we got this mode up. Now I tap on this little button up there in the top right corner. So tap on that, and it says, do I want to auto merge or range merge? Auto merge is just going to do everything, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to tap on range merge, and this is the really cool part. I tap on the screen on something that I know I want, like that front mushroom. Now there's two things happening. You're seeing the green square and you're seeing gray squares. The gray squares are telling me, hey, if you include this range, it's going to look weird. This is not going to look cool if you include that range. So don't tap that. Okay, well, so I know I want that mushroom. I want that mushroom. And I tap on that and we get more green squares popping up saying, hey, that's the range of what's going to be in focus. And I can drag around the screen and tap on the stuff that I want. So the green areas will be included and the gray will not. If I were to tap on that very background back there, can I even get it to show up there? You would see the mug come in. Definitely not what I want, so I want to get rid of that. We do not want that one showing up on there. But we do want all this other stuff. And that's it. And now I just tap the button here that says merge chosen focus points into a picture and save. We hit yes, and off it goes. Now this will take probably about half a minute to a minute or so. I think it depends on how many frames there are. There's a lot of factors, I guess, but that's what it does, and it builds that stack. And of course, once it's done, we'll pull this up and take a look at it. So that's what it's doing by building the focus stack. Now, while this is rendering this, I want to read something quite interesting out of the user guide that I thought was interesting. It says, the camera may automatically correct the misalignments of pictures caused by camera shake. So if your hand holding it, so again, just reiterating the point that you can hand hold it. If they're corrected, the angle of view becomes slightly narrower when the pictures are merged. So if you're moving a little bit, then you will see that that field of view narrow, because it's just like optical stabilization. It's got to kind of push into the frame a little bit. And there is another one coming up, and again, I can't, this is so frustrating. I cannot see the name. From Portugal. I'm sorry, I don't know why the numbers are covering the name, which is really surprising. Let me see if I click on this. We had another donation coming in, another contribution from Portugal. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Keep up the amusing work. My wife says I'm not funny, but what does she know? Okay, thank you again from Portugal. So handheld, it's going to, just like optical image stabilization on the computer, or digital stabilization, I guess would be on the computer, it's going to punch into the frame a little bit. So there's that. This is, okay, part 2 and then part 3 that's really interesting. Unnatural picture may be created if the subject moves during recordings. That makes sense, right? If your post-focus thing is bouncing all over the place, you're going to get some weird things going on. But this is the interesting one. Very defocused pictures, such as those recorded with a macro lens, may be merged into an unnatural picture. Interesting. If you perform recording with a larger aperture value, in aperture priority mode or manual exposure mode, the resulting picture may look less unnatural. So basically meaning if you don't have microscopic focus points. And it says may. It's just one of those things that may or may not. Now, with that said, before I set up my mushroom here, I did a weird test where I just had a camera lens sitting here, and I did that, and the focus rack was very broad, a very flat to the camera surface of focus, and it did look weird. I'm like, what's going on here? Something's weird. So let me get something real in here. Got the mushroom, it looked perfect. So you may get some oddities according to the user guide, and I have seen it with macro photography focus stacking. But in my mind, that's where this really comes in handy, is the macro photography. So I think it's just a case of setting up the shot. If you get something weird, move something a little bit and try again. But this is now done. Let's wake this thing back up. Go to here. Come here. Go to here. And there is the focus stacked image. So if I zoom into this, pan around, we can see that that back mushroom is nicely sharp, and all the way down here, all nicely sharp. But of course, if we go to the background is completely out of focus on there. And that is how the focus stacking works. It is really, really cool. So let me set up another example. I want to do something a little bit harder. Let's see, I'm going to set up, here, we'll do this. I'll put this guy close to the background. So this is in the background, but quite close, so it could very easily show up. This is the kind of thing where you couldn't just use a smaller aperture to get a larger depth of field, because what would happen, so let's see here, let me go back to this camera. If I'm just gonna get out of this post-focus mode and just kind of go into manual focus here so that I can do this. All right, so if I was shooting these mushrooms here and I got enough depth of field where I got that front mushroom and the back mushroom in focus, I would probably also get some of that back piece of wood in focus, the one that I just set up there. So let me move this just a little bit more. I'm going to bring it even closer, actually, to make this even harder. Okay, so if, again, there's my background, you see it's not that far from the foreground. So if I got from there to there in focus, from there to there in focus, I would probably also get some of that in focus, at least not super big bokeh like that. So now we're going to try the post-focus mode on this. Let me switch the camera back into mode. I'm going to push and hold the button halfway while it focus racks. It determines that it can do it. Green light says I can. Push the button and away it goes. You can see very clearly the different focus ranges on there. Excellent. Okay, we'll give that a moment to process. And then, as soon as that is up, there we go. Now I've got my post focus. I'm going to turn off the peaking here. We've got the front mushroom, the back mushroom, and the bit of log all the way in the background there. So again, let's go into focus stacking mode, range merge. I want the front mushroom, I want the back mushroom, and nothing else. Select and yes, merge. And we'll let that process. While that is processing, oops, wrong button. While that's processing, I'm seeing more stuff coming up. 25 pounds. Oh my, You guys, like, seriously. Thanks for inspiring me to get into a new hobby. Love your work. From I think that's from Martin Pitt. Awesome, Martin. Well, that is super cool. I'm glad to have inspired you. Photography is fun. It is a lot of fun. Did you tell me the other day that you're going to start a career in this, or start trying to make some money with it? I know someone just said that the other day. In which case, if that's the case, if that's you, and if not you, then whoever it is, bravo and kudos. It's a hard way to make a living, but it's a lot of fun, very rewarding. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for the contribution. That is awesome. I'm super glad I can inspire you and help you to find something new and exciting to do. So that is beautiful. Thanks. All right, let's go back to this. Go back to the remote camera here. And there's our focus stacked image. So you can see, let me zoom into this a little bit. Again, you can see the front mushroom there is nice and sharp. The back mushroom there is nice and sharp. Looks like I might have wanted to select a little bit farther range back there. And the background is very clearly out of focus. So that, again, is what focus stacking does for us. So it's really, really cool that you can do this in camera. I think that if your job is, if you shoot a lot of focus stack type images, if you're doing catalog macro work, let's say for a jewelry store, I think that mode alone in this camera in the GH5, because you get that 18 megapixel file out of the 6K photo mode, is worth the price of entry. It's just going to be so much easier to do focus stacking. I love it. Now, how does this compare to focus stacking done the traditional way? I'd have to do two side by sides to compare. But everything that I've seen looks really, really good in it. Now, I have seen some that didn't work, absolutely. If you're shooting like through a fence or something where you've got the crazy big bokeh, where like a fence is a really good example, because a fence, if you're shooting through a chain link fence, that chain link fence goes from sharp to being about this big on frame when it's out of focus as you're focusing on something in the background. If you try to include all of those, that's a lot of blurry data that is covering what should be sharp data in the background. So it's probably not going to work out that well, and it won't work out that well. I mean, I've seen it do weird things. But if you're realistic about it, you set your expectations to where they should be to get a legitimate view like this. Get these two mushrooms in focus and the background thing out of focus, then it works really, really well. And I think it's a tremendous, tremendous tool to have in your arsenal. So there is that. Wow, you guys are incredible. 144 people watching right now. You guys rock. This is just incredible. Thank you again so much for the contributions. You guys are out of control. This is really, really cool. I know that's not going to happen again anytime soon, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Super Chat just passed the Patreon in terms of contributions. I know. I've got the Patreon thing that's a monthly contribution, but it hasn't been working out, so I'm really glad to see the Super Chat flying by here. You guys are the best. Let's see if there's any other colors in here. Thanks for the incredible videos and for answering my questions yesterday. Oh, excellent. Well, good. I'm very glad that was able to be helpful to you. And we got to figure out why I can't see the names because they're covered by the amounts. This is just silly. Definitely something YouTube has got to fix. Can you go back and change the range after you've made one photo? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So here, if I want to do this again, I certainly can. Let's go back to this view. I moved my camera. Let's put this back get this into focus. Is that almost in focus? There we go. That'll work. Okay, so I hit play, bring up the photo. Let's go back to, there's the post-focus one. So let's do this again. We'll go into post-focus mode. And let's do one where just the background's in focus. Let's say that's what I wanted. So if I wanted just that, we'll do here, go to range merging. I just want the background in focus. Let's make sure I get all the background in focus there, like so. So this is the same picture we just did, and so we're just doing it again. So yeah, absolutely, you can go back to that file and do as many as you want because the file stays there. The 6K post-focus file stays on the card. You can even take it into a Lightroom or to Photoshop later and extract individual frames and do that focus stacking manually if you wanted to. So you have options. That file is left behind for you. All right, let's see what else. Other questions that are coming here at the end. Andrew's saying, if you shoot RAW plus JPEG, I don't know what the first part of the question was. Let's see if I can scroll up and find it. If flowers are a foot away and a mountain a mile away, hyperfocal distance won't cut it. Well, if you're trying to do everything at once, like the flower in the front and the thing in the back, then focus stacking may not work out that well. There's a time and place for every piece of tech, right? If that's what you're trying to do, then you might just want to take those two different pictures and take them into Photoshop and do a comp together that way. I know there's all kinds of techniques for doing super depth of field things that are similar to focus stacking like this, but not. That's about the best. It's a great explanation, I realize. It's like this, but it's not. But you can absolutely do photos where you have the flower in focus and the mountain in focus in the background, but that may not be, you may not get that result from here. I don't know, you'd have to try. I don't think you would. I think this is really more designed for those close-up focus things. So if you're shooting, Andrew, you said something about shooting RAW plus JPEG, but I'm not sure what the original part of that question was. So if you'd like to clarify that, I will happily help. Because this is shooting video, technically video, you're not getting RAW plus JPEG, you're getting a video file, right? So there is no dual file, there's no single image file. It is a RAW plus JPEG. It is not a RAW plus JPEG, it's a video file. The focus stack file that it creates, that's a JPEG, right? It can't be RAW because it's a stack of a series of frames from video, so that's gonna be a JPEG. Okay, this is great. Devin saying being able to do this in camera is phenomenal. I agree, it is very cool. I guess I should bring this mouse over here so I don't have to reach across. That would be slightly more clever. Martin saying, I'm considering getting a fixed focal length, both 20mm and 25mm, both are f1.7. Would 25 make more sense? I don't know that one makes more sense over the other. I guess it depends on what you're doing with it, really. I like the standard 50mm focal length, but then again, my favorite lens, one of my favorite lenses, say favorite, is the 15mm, so 30mm equivalent. So that'd be splitting the difference. So I guess that would make that a very good general purpose lens. But there is no easy one. Now those are not both made by Panasonic. 25-1.7, that's Panasonic. I don't know who makes the 20-1.7. So if you're looking at a 20mm 1.7 and it's not by Panasonic, if fast autofocus speed is important to you, you might want to consider the Panasonic to get the better autofocus performance. But other than that, you know, it's more of just a personal preference, I think. Yusin is saying, I am in Bangladesh. They have Panasonic showrooms, but have no camera like the GH4 even, or the GH5 or others. Well, that's unfortunate. Huh. Sorry to hear that. Couldn't tell you why. What effect does f-stop have? Difference between f16 or f1.4? Oh, Christopher, you're asking super basic questions here. Okay, I'm going to give you an answer, and then I'm going to send you somewhere. So a couple of things. Depth of field is the most important one as far as the image result, what you get in camera. Wide open picture at f1.4 gives you very, very shallow depth of field. Stopping all the way down to f16, f22 gives you a lot more depth of field. That's more in focus or less in focus. So if you're shooting a big landscape picture, you want everything in focus. You want that big depth of field, so a small aperture. If you want very little in focus, like the person in focus, but the background blurry, then you want to open it wide open. So that's an aperture like f1.2, f4, f2.8, whatever, something like that. And then you'll get the background out of focus. But what I would very much like you to do is go to, where is it? Here we go. Go check this out. Go to my lynda.com course, my Photo 101. If you've got questions like that, Christopher, then this is a great place for you to go. Just go to photojoseph.com/photo101. You'll be taken right to the course. If you are not yet a Lynda member, go to photojoseph.com/Lynda and you will get a free 10-day trial. And if you like the whole macro thing, there is a macro course as well. The macro and close-up course, photojoseph.com/Lynda macro will take you there. Or just go to Lynda and search for my name and macro. You'll find it as well. These are just quick little easy shortcut links that you can get to. So, and Christopher saying, you're clarifying. I guess, Christopher, I took your question a little too literally. Christopher saying, you meant when using focus stacking. So when using focus stacking, the difference would be how, again, the narrow depth of field, the narrower it is, the more frames it's going to use for the stack. But according to the user guide, if you're doing macro photography and your depth of field is too narrow, it may produce unnatural results. So open it up a little bit, get a little bit more depth of field. So stop the lens down, open up the depth of field a little bit, and try again. But essentially what it means is you're getting fewer frames needed to build the stack, which could be to your advantage. It just depends on what you're shooting and what you're getting out of it. So you just gotta, you gotta try it out. Sully says you paid for my new car. Let's not get carried away, but thank you. I appreciate the effort, and if you guys want to pay for a new car for me, that'd be okay. I kind of need one. Mine's pretty old. That'd be awesome. Robski, okay, last question, then we're going to bail out of here. Robski's asked, is it worth investing in the 12-60 Leica for the bundle deal, or go with the Metabones and Cine lens kit? Okay, well, those are two totally separate worlds, right? Two totally separate worlds. Are the bells and whistles outweighing the more cinematic look and better low light performance? Yeah. Two completely different worlds, man. The 12-60 is a really good performance all around everyday use lens with great autofocus capabilities, a reasonably fast aperture, but obviously at the long ends you're at f4, so it's not going to be super shallow depth of field. Metabones adapter on a lens, you're going to have a much more shallow depth of field, more cinematic look, but it's all manual. So there is no Like, you need both, basically, is what that comes down to. That's what you need. Live reactions, throwing up a comment here and another donation. Thank you so much. Starting second channel soon. What do you recommend for crispy video? GH5 with Panasonic 12 to 35 f2.8 or GH5 Metabones adapter? Was that the same question? Not really. It depends on what the look you're going for. If you want that really cinematic look, then you're going to get and cinematic. You might get more cinematic look with the Metabones adapter. The 12 to 35 on a GH4, GH5 is going to give you a really sharp, really clean image. I still prefer the look that I get when I was using a GH4 up here for this camera. The look that I got out of it, I still like, even though I've done all kinds of calibrating for the Blackmagic camera that's there now. I still like the look of the other camera better, but advantages outweigh that, like being in sync, kind of important. So that's why I'm on this camera now. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's a topic for another day. But the look that you get out of these cameras natively is gorgeous. If you're going to be color grading, if you're going to shoot your daily vlog in Vlog with a cinema lens and do color grading on it afterwards, awesome, go for it, super cool. I'm producing a daily live show where I can't be editing this stuff afterwards. Basically, this live show goes to the internet, it's done, and I'm done. It just depends on the look you're going for. It really does. If it's your only lens, I would probably go with one of the autofocus lenses, one of the Panasonic lenses, because then you have more options, right? You can do more with it. A cinematic lens like that on a Metabones adapter is going to kind of limit what you can do. You're going to take it around for family pictures with your kids. A little bit too much work. Unless you plan on traveling with a focus puller, probably not going to do that. So you might want to consider the first lens being one of the either 12 to 35 or 12 to 60 or whatever fits your goal. But I'd go with the Panasonic lens to start with, and then branch out from there. There's my advice. Start with the Panasonic lens, branch out from there. Okay, guys. Whew, this was killer. Thank you so much again, everybody. Thank you for all who made a contribution. Unbelievable. That is just the best thing ever. That really made my day. I got to tell you that for sure. I was hoping to have some really cool news to share with you today, but I haven't heard yet, so I'm not going to. But it is related to this, so hopefully I'll be able to share that soon. And I guess that's it. So don't forget to check out the Linda things. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up or thumbs down. If you thumbs down the video, please do tell me why. If you thumbs up the video, even better, tell me why as well. And also, again, for the comments, as we did yesterday's show was a Q&A. That was the comment answering show. For those longer questions that show up in the comments that are a bit more than something I can tap out quickly on my phone, those will get answered on next Monday's show. So if you have a hard question, go ahead and put it in the comments. I just may not get to it until then, but I will tell you in the comment. I'll respond to it with a link to the video that will be forthcoming so you can get the answer. Again, thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of this. If you're in the market for GH5, don't forget, scroll down, affiliate links down there for Amazon, B&H, and Adorama, and you can grab your camera from there, and that's awesome. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thanks again so much for everybody. Best show to date. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.